Okay, it's time to wax my snowboard. I have a trip coming up this weekend to Ruidoso, New Mexico, and the ski Apache mountain there has actually gotten dumped on in the last couple weeks. One day between Christmas and New Year's, I think it got 36 inches of snow or something crazy like that in 2 days. And I just got back from a trip, went to Taos and Red River between Christmas and New Year's. It was good snow, but spent 3 days on the mountain, so some of this wax rubbed off, so need to give it a fresh wax. You can see that the base of the snowboard has a pretty rich color to it, and this means that it has a good layer of wax still on it. But I want to have as slick of a ride as possible, so I'll guide you through a step-by-step process of how to wax the snowboard the way I know how and what works for me. And the weather right now, it's pretty damp, you can see, but I checked the weather and it's not supposed to rain anymore, so even though it's cold, about 40 degrees or so, I'm gonna get after it because the trip's coming up next week. Got to get it done. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to take the bindings off. The binding hardware, these screws that you see here, they actually create a divot on the bottom side of the board, so having these on would prevent you from having a smooth surface when you're waxing. So we want that to be as even as possible, so got to take those off. First, you want to take a picture of the setup you have. This configuration works for me. It's symmetrical. I got about a 12.5 degree angle set, so I have a picture saved of this already that I can refer back to, but you want to take a picture so you remember how to put it back. Okay, I got the bindings off, and you can see an imprint where the bindings were previously set. This will help me whenever I'm putting them back on. I don't know what that white stuff is, but works as a pretty good guide. And make sure you put your screws into a cup because you do not want to lose these. You probably don't have any extras. I know I don't. Start off, use a Scotch-Brite and just give it a good wipe down. I don't use any citrus acidic sprays to remove previous wax. It can hurt the base of your board, that protective membrane. In order to open up the pores, I use a hair dryer to get it pretty hot. This opens up the pores so that they're ready to accept the wax. The hot iron is heating up and I have it set to 180 degrees. It's a good temperature that works well. And the wax that I'm going to be using is Thi'sl wax, super hot sauce. This stuff is slick, really good. And had some previous wax that we've used in the past, wink wax, and 2 winters ago we got onto the mountain and man, that stuff was gummy. But Thi'sl, tried and true. In order to get the wax onto the bottom of the board, you're going to take this block of wax and rub it onto the bottom of the hot iron, and you're just going to drip it on the board. I'll show you real quick. I'm going to hold the phone between my chin and my chest, so we'll see how this works. So just move the iron around and just keep rubbing this block. You're going to keep dripping this wax. The idea here is to get a good coverage. And then once you got an area done, you can take the iron and start rubbing it in. And we're going to do this until we have the entire board covered with wax. Good solid coat. Okay, I've got the wax rubbed in and have a solid 100% coverage. So I'm just going to let this sit here for about an hour, let the wax harden up, and I'll be back to scrape it. Okay, the wax has had time to set and now it's time to scrape it off. So when scraping, you want to pull the scraper, and you want to pull parallel with the direction of the board because you're going downhill in this direction, and then this helps with promote the grains in a downwards direction. You'll notice that there's a lot of resistance at the beginning because this wax is so thick, but as you remove layers of wax and you get down to the board, it'll be a smoother glide. And that's the goal. You want this scraper to just glide effortlessly. But right now, it just takes perseverance, because it's going to take a little while. This is the most time-consuming part of the process, but stay after it and you'll have a slick board. I made some pretty good progress on this section of the board, and when I'm pulling the scraper, it's gliding smoother. And there's a little bit more wax to remove, but we're trying to just get the vast majority of it out, and then we will finish up with the Scotch-Brite later. Now when you're scraping the wax off at the ends, it's more difficult to scrape in a parallel fashion like you do at the main body of the board, but you'll just have to scrape at different angles in order to get the wax out. This is okay, but in general you want to scrape at a parallel. Now I'm reaching the tail end of the scraping process, and my muscles are actually pretty sore. This takes a lot of effort, don't get me wrong, but it's good to pull in uniform motions. But in order to get these little pockets of wax out, you might just need to rub back and forth. This helps too, but you're still going in a parallel fashion. You'll be able to tell that you're done scraping when you can pull the scraper and it doesn't catch. If it catches, that means there's a little pocket of wax and there's still wax left to scrape. But once you have it where it's good, take the Scotch-Brite and just rub it into a deeper level. And you're pretty much polishing the bottom of the board here. And here's the finished product. This thing is ready for me to hit the slopes, and with a freshly waxed surface, it'll allow me to achieve speeds that otherwise would not be possible, and will give me a smooth ride. Now I recommend waxing your snowboard before every trip. Not only will this give you a better experience on the mountain, but it will also extend the life of your board by protecting the coat, the protective membrane, and it will also help fill in scratches and mask them. Scratches are an inevitable part of snowboarding. You'll hit some loose rocks, little stones, but the wax along with P-Tex will protect your board. So get ready to hit the mountain. Thanks for watching.